Well, first of all, I'm very happy to welcome our friends, our international friends, Mr. Fairback, Mr. Kiefer, representatives of the European self-government. And I would like to welcome those who have joined us online from other cities of Ukraine and other cities of the world. I thank all the partners of Ukraine, the ones who are on our side and the side of our country, the ones who have joined the Rada channel. Is not either very professional. I would also like to those of you who have joined us online, the ones who have joined us in defending the rights and freedoms and the principles of democracy. This is very important. Today is the 99th day of the aggression. Since that, during this time, the barbarians have tortured tens of thousands of people, peaceful residents of this country, the patriots who have died. Now, a quarter of the population of Ukraine has had to leave their homes, unfortunately. More than 6 million Ukrainians have become internally or externally displaced persons. About 5 million Ukrainians have left the country. And now millions of Ukrainians are in the area of hostilities, where every day there are huge risks for their health and lives of every Ukrainian. During this time, 91 million square meters of buildings and houses have been destroyed, including 32 million square meters of residential housing. 1,837 schools and kindergartens. And that's the special operation against the military. This is what the Russians are telling us. 627 hospitals, 330 bridges. The residents of 961 settled locations in Ukraine have no access to water, electric power, natural gas. However, self-government continues living and working now and providing services to the people. It's not a secret that one of the objectives of the invaders is our self-government. More than 30 mayors, chairmen of the regional councils, city councils, have been abducted. How many? We have 6 mayors are still somewhere there. We do not know where they're held. They are still hostages. The mayor of Hostomel, when she brought food and humanitarian assistance to the residents of her town, she was shot and killed by the Russians. And it's not a secret that the local self-government today, unfortunately, remains the goal of the aggressor in order to destroy the fundamentals of this country. Today, we, the municipalities, have a key task to provide services to the residents of our communities. Light, electricity, water, heating, providing all services that people need. However, we, regardless of where we are on the territorial community level, we are providing all the necessary services to meet the needs of the people with which they come to the local authorities. And this is why I would like to underline that rebuilding Ukraine after the war will start primarily with the participation of the local self-government. Our goal is to identify the architecture of revival. I'm talking about the things that we're planning to do without, and I would like to focus on that, without defending this country today, we cannot speak about revival. And I'm turning to our foreign guests. It's very difficult to imagine now, at the end of May or early summer, when chestnuts are in blossom, when the weather is fine, when we see sunshine. The city of Kyiv is a friendly city. It's very hard to imagine that several hundred kilometers away from Kyiv, we have real hell, where people are killed every minute, every hour, every day. Dozens of people, hundreds of people die. And I can say that this is not any special operation the Russians are telling us. This is not even a war. This is genocide of the Ukrainian people. If you see Bucha, Irpin, Hostomel, if you see destroyed buildings of peaceful residents, you would be able to understand that. However, it's very difficult still to imagine. Now, okay, there is electricity there, we have cleaned it up, they have water, everything has been cleaned up. So you would not feel the atmosphere of complete destruction. You would see the remnants of the destroyed buildings and infrastructure, and you still can feel the smell of the corpses along the roads, the smell of death and destruction of the country. Very difficult to imagine it today, but I want to thank the world journalists, reporters who were in the city of Kyiv, and thanks to them, the world saw what the special operation is. Unfortunately, those journalists are no longer in Mariupol, Severodonetsk, Popasna, and in other towns where the situation is not better, but can be even much worse. In the destroyed Mariupol, I've talked to the mayor. We cannot now know how many people have been killed, but probably that would be dozens of thousands of peaceful residents of Mariupol who have been killed because the city is destroyed by 90%. However, our objective anyway is to make plans and to do everything so that first we can stop the war that has no sense at all, and second, to make our plans to rebuild our cities, towns, villages to revive this country. And we are very grateful to our friends. Without your assistance, it would be very, very hard to do. And I want to once again thank each and every person who supports Ukraine, who is doing everything so that the country would repel the invaders, the aggressors. And yet another very important message: everyone in Europe must understand we are defending not only Ukraine, not only our homes, not only our families and our children. We are defending each of you. If, God forbid, we have no success in that, you will be the next ones. And today, everyone in Europe must understand it. We are fighting for the key principles and values of every European against totalitarianism, against aggression. We are defending the key principles of human rights, freedom of speech, the key democratic principles that the Russian Empire does not have and will never have, and everyone has to clearly realize that. However, today, our common position with our partners is that what we do together with the Association of Ukrainian Cities in the draft manifesto, which I hope we will be able to share, to explain everyone what our views are, and during the speeches to be heard here, we will definitely be able to finalize the manifesto of the community revival so that it not only stays on paper, but that it would have very clear steps that can be carried out. So there are two key components: to stop the war, to drive the aggressor out from Ukraine, and to rebuild Ukraine, to revive it as a real European country. Let me remind you once again, we Ukrainians, we are Europeans, geographically, in terms of mentality and our history. We need to have the standards of life that all together we would be able to implement together with our partners in order to be a real part of the European family. Sorry for this long speech.